I now give the floor to the representative of Algeria.
Madam President, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the member of the A3+, namely Guyana, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and my own country, Algeria. At the outset, the members of the A3+ would like to thank Mr. Pedersen and Mrs. Wozornu for their valuable briefings. We also listened carefully to the representative of the civil society. The A3+ welcomes the participation of our colleagues from Syria, Iran, and Turkey at this meeting. I wish to express to the permanent representative of Turkey our heartfelt condolences to the family of the victim of these horrific terrorist attacks carried out today in Ankara. Our thoughts are with the people of Turkey during this difficult time, and we stand in solidarity with them as they face this tragedy. Madam President, we meet today as the situation in the Middle East continues to worsen, with the path to a viable solution becoming increasingly elusive and complex. The suffering of the Syrian people has persisted for far too long, and it is imperative that we work seriously towards its resolution. The fighting in Gaza and Lebanon, alongside rising instability in the Syrian Golan, are profoundly affecting Syria. The A3+ is gravely concerned that the already fragile security and humanitarian situation could easily plunge Syria back into a cycle of violence, an outcome we all seek to avoid. In this regard, we note the Syria letter dated of 14 October 2024, reporting that, I quote, an Israeli airstrike from the direction of northern Lebanon hit the Homs countryside industrial zone, causing significant material damage to public and private property. The A3+ express deep concern over reports of demining activities within the INDOF area of operation and condemn all violation of Syria's sovereignty. We reiterate our call for de-escalation and a nationwide ceasefire, as well as a regional ceasefire, in particular in Gaza and Lebanon. We urge maximum restraint from all actors in the region and to spare Syria from further military confrontation. The recent incident reported over the past weeks, coupled with the re-emergence of the terrorist threat in Syria, remind us all of the urgent need for a political solution to the crisis, one that safeguards Syria's unity, Syria's sovereignty, Syria's independence, and Syria's territorial integrity. we must ensure the continued protection of the UNDOF presence on the Golan and uphold the 1974 disengagement agreement, which has been a cornerstone for regional stability in decades. The A3 Plus reaffirmed its support for a Syrian-owned and a Syrian-led political process, which is the only pathway to a solution as laid out in Resolution 2254. In this regard, we emphasize the urgency of convening the Constitutional Committee. In this context, we renew our support to the Special Envoy in his endeavor and call on all stakeholders to engage constructively with him to break the current deadlock in the political process. The A3 Plus believes that through inclusive dialogue among Syrians, with the backing of the international community, a sustainable solution can be achieved. Madam President, OCHA's briefings have consistently highlighted the alarming humanitarian situation in Syria. The humanitarian response plan is only 27% funded, while 70% of the population is in need of humanitarian assistance. This dire situation has been exacerbated by the recent influx of Syrians returning to their country. According to UNHCR, over 400,000 people have fled the violence in Lebanon and crossed back into Syria. Addressing this emergency will require tremendous effort and support from the international community to mobilize significant resources. And Syria was not prepared for this crisis and will not be able to manage it alone. The A3 Plus calls on all donors to assist Syria and the humanitarian community in supporting Syrian returnees and Lebanese refugees. We also express grave concern about the impact of the humanitarian crisis on children, particularly on their education and mental health. With one-third of children reported to be suffering from psychosocial distress. Rehabilitating Syria's health system is crucial. The A3 Plus looks forward to the launch of the early recovery strategy and welcomes the focus on health and nutrition services within its framework. While the international community must not lose sight of the ongoing humanitarian emergency, the A3 believes that a developmental approach is equally necessary. Syria cannot rely on humanitarian aid indefinitely. It must be empowered to face its socio-economic challenges. including by the lifting of unilateral sanctions. In conclusion, Madam President, the A3+ firmly believes that the solution to Syria's crisis can only be political and must be decided by the Syrian people themselves. The international community and this very Council must help the Syrians find a resolution to a conflict that has plagued their country for over 13 years. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Algeria.